Hello, everyone. So, just wanted to let everybody know that if you see me in the same outfit and same hair for the next 10 videos, that is because I am recording all the videos in one day. It makes it so much easier just to, mass record in one day and then, just put it out day by day, one video at a time. So, I will be recording 10 videos today. So in 10 videos, I'm going to look exactly the same. And before I get started, because today's video is going to be about recognizing the call of deities when they call to you, how to communicate with them, and how you can honor them in different ways. But before I get started, I have a friend and I just want to do this quick plug. It's not going to be like a long thing, but there's a page on Facebook called Jillian at Resin Art Concepts. This beast of a cup, okay, very reasonable. And I don't know if you can see, but it says, it's probably backwards, but it says Wicked Nice Witch on it. And it has my pentacle, and it's a beautiful cup. I mean, she did an amazing job. So if you like this cup and you like, she does anything, you could do anything. She does trays and she could do anything. Jillian at Resin Art Concepts. So, and to that, I will take a sip of coffee. But we will get started. So recognizing the call, and just in case you see me looking off to the side, I do have my bullet points. It helps keep me on the course, because otherwise I'll talk about 700 different things and get sidetracked a bunch of times, and a video that would normally take 10 minutes could take 100. So I keep my notes here on the side just so I can stay on track. So recognizing the call. Different deities call different ways. They can call to you by visiting your dreams. They can call to, and visiting your dreams doesn't mean that you'll see them per se. You might not see them in their god or goddess form. They may come in the form of animals. It's like symbolism. They might use symbolism to really get your attention. Let's say if you live in the city, and I'll tell you a quick story in a second. Let's say if you live in the city and you don't normally see does and bucks, let's just say, that's something you normally would see in the country, a country type setting. But you're driving along in the city, or you're walking along, and there's this buck just standing there in all his glory looking at you, right? And you're like, that's odd, because that's not something I would normally see in the city. I would pay attention to that, because that could very well be a deity calling to you. That doesn't necessarily mean it is, because, it could just, if you notice that there's a lot of wooded area in the city where you see him, it could just be, nature happening. And he's looking at you like, oh, there's a human. So, but if you live in a city or a country setting where you happen to have a lot of crows, seeing crows isn't out of the ordinary. However, if you have if you're sitting outside and one comes extremely close to you and is just kind of looking at you like, hey, what's up? I would pay attention to that. It's these little things. I'll tell you a quick story. I was sitting on the porch with my husband, and we were just sitting there, and I live in the city. We don't see, an array of wildlife. We have birds and things like that, squirrels. But we're sitting there, and I hear this massive wind sound from wings. And I look up, because I was looking on my phone, and I look up, and 2 turkey buzzards, huge, massive birds. They landed on the house across the street, and they were just looking at us. For me, I knew that was a sign. I could just feel that energy that, they stood there for about 5 minutes just looking at, they didn't do anything else but stand there. And then they both took off. And so, I did a little research, and turkey buzzards sometimes the Egyptian goddess Mat. She is seen with turkey buzzards at time, or turkey vultures. And so for me, that was a sign from her, because I had just done some work with her at the new moon. And so I felt like that was recognition. That was, her calling to me to do more work with her. So that's just my little story, my little personal experience. But so a calling doesn't happen once or twice. It's a repetitive thing. However, if you ignore a call, they will stop calling at some point. They will see that you're not getting it, or that you are ignoring the call for whatever reason. Some people are nervous to work with new deities. Some people are hesitant because they're afraid of offending, or they don't know how to work with that deity. So the call sometimes goes ignored. And then at that point, after so many callings, the deity will move on. They don't always speak in a way that you will understand as a calling. They won't announce themselves by names most of the time. Sometimes they do, but that doesn't happen very often. So you want to listen with everything, not just your ears. Listen with your soul. Listen with your eyes. Listen with your sense of smell. Listen with also with your hearing. Listen with vibration. Your sense of vibration. Listen with every fiber of your being, because this is something that's going to affect you more than just hearing, more than just seeing. So just listen with everything. And research is everything. So if you feel that you are being called, if you are seeing, symbolism, whether it be in your dreams, whether it be in your waking life, maybe it's both, start researching, because sometimes we get callings and we don't know who it is. Research, things like deities associated with turkey vultures, or deities associated with bucks. And you may come up with more than one deity associated with that animal, with that feather, with that whatever. So this is why it's also important to listen with your body, because when you start to do your research, you want to, every time you come across a deity, if you have more than one, your body's in your soul is going to tell, there's going to be a connection there. You're going to feel something. So, if you have 3 deities that pop up with associations with that one animal, and you read about one and it just doesn't feel right to you, then that's probably not the one calling to you. You will feel something. It may not be, something that is so drastic that you can't ignore it. It might be something that is subtle, but there is a connection and you feel it. And that's why it's important to listen to your body while you're doing this process. Ways to communicate and connect. So number 1 is meditation. And I know this is hard for some people, and I know this is difficult to kind of get yourself in a position where you are able to meditate. And this, I believe I went over this in a video already. Meditation is not what a lot of people think it is. You do not shut your mind off. This is impossible. You can't. There's no off switch. You can't shut it off. If it's off, we're dead. So we don't want to shut it off. We want to be able to allow the thoughts that are coming in to flow in and out. Whatever does not serve the purpose at hand, we just have to let them flow. If something that you have to do tomorrow pops in while you're meditating, just let it go. Just let it come in and let it go out. You don't want to try and block anything, because it's not natural. So while you're meditating, try to go into a focused meditation. Go in with the focus of trying to connect with the deity that's calling you. And when you start to receive maybe some imagery in your meditation, maybe you start to see, a bird, maybe you see, some kind of animal, maybe you see something else, maybe a landscape, maybe a building, whatever that is, write it down. Write it down so you don't forget. So if you aren't sure who is trying to connect, go into the meditation with the intent of connecting with the deity that is calling and making their identity known. So asking them if they can either tell you who they are, or if they can give you, enough information where you can identify them with those signs and symbols and whatever way that they choose to connect with you. Another way is divination. Whether it be runes, scrying, oracle, tarot. This is a way to ask a direct question and, receive an answer. Sometimes these answers are not as clean and cut as you hope they are. So sometimes divination works for people better if they have a lot of experience with divination. If they know how to go into divination and almost like decipher the code, or put together the puzzle pieces, because it's not always easy. And especially if you are new to divination, it might be even harder to kind of connect those pieces because your answers might not be as clear as you want them to be. If you are having a hard time receiving a clear message, let's say if you are doing, an oracle card reading for yourself, trying to ask questions on who is calling you, pay attention to if you do this, I just want to give you a little tip. If you are using oracle cards, and you're asking who is connecting and you're shuffling, and focus on this intent. You can close your eyes, keep them open, whatever, but who is calling me, shuffle, and pour that intent into what you're trying to achieve. Pull that card. It may not say, it's not, if you're using a regular deck, like I'll just use this for an example. I have this deck. It's not going to say, hey, it's me, Isis. Hey, it's me, Mott. Hey, it's me. So it's not going to be like that. Look at the imagery on the card. Look at the words on the card. So imagery and words, that's what I mean about puzzle pieces, putting the things together. If you're doing an oracle card reading for yourself, to kind of look and to get some answers, and the answers aren't clear, ask someone else to do a reading for you, to pull a card or two. And I will say, and I'm just putting this out there, that it's rude to ask for free readings. And if you're looking for insight and you're looking for some clarity, offer the person that you're asking a couple bucks. Even if they're only pulling 1, 2, 3 cards, whatever, it's just the kind thing to do because they're using their energy to help you. The third way is ecstatic communication. Now, I don't have any experience with this, but I know that this is a thing. So I can't speak from experience. There is some debate on whether this is real. I'm not debating in its realness. I am just saying I've never experienced it. This is when a deity speaks through you. Now, they take over your body and they use it as a vessel to get messages. Possibly, it's possible for you to be present while this is happening. So you get to experience when they are using your body as a vessel. They might be using it to spread a message. They might be using it to connect with you. And you and the deity become one during this process. And I know that when I do ritual work, like let's say if I'm doing a full moon ritual, I will do the charge of the goddess. This is basically you speaking as her, like you are calling her in, and you are, same thing with drawing down the moon. You are pulling that energy into yourself. I've done that. I've never had a deity take over my body and use it as a vessel. I've never experienced that, but I do not debate that it's real. I'm sure there are people out there that have experienced it. It must be a wonderful experience, but that's another way that they can connect with you. So once you have discovered, so those are just some of the ways that you can connect with your, communicate, I should say, with your deity and connect with them. But once you have connected with who is calling you, The next thing to do is to work with that deity. Honor them. I personally don't use the word worship because I don't worship. My deity, I work with them. We work side by side. I do honor them. I honor their presence. I honor their blessings. But I do not worship them. There's a difference to me. And that's my own personal choice. And I do not project that onto anybody else. You do whatever you feel is right for you. It is important to build a relationship with your deity. I feel like this is extremely important because if you have a deity calling to you, there's a reason why they're trying to connect with you for your highest benefit. And there may be also something that they need done, and they are calling on you to do it for them. This could be, humanitarian related. This could be anything. So, it's important to connect, and not only connect, but build that relationship. It's okay to say, like, I honor Mot or I honor Isis. But if I'm not doing anything to build that relationship, I'm just saying that I honor them, then I'm not truly honoring them. And again, this is my own personal opinion, because I feel like in order to work with a deity, I have to know like what they're about. I have to know that the connection is real. I have to know that we go together well, that we work together well. I want to feel comfortable working with that deity, and the only way for me to know if that's possible is to build that relationship. How do you build a relationship with a deity? Get to know them through reading and studying all about them. This is very important. And as far as like reading and studying, you might come across some conflicting information if you go to different sources. Take what you feel is resonating with you. Don't go word for word by what someone else says, because don't forget, some of these other people are using their own experiences and telling you what they've experienced with this deity. And so you can't take everything that they're saying and saying, okay, well, this is what I'm going to experience. And then you read another article or another book, and there's something that's completely different that doesn't exactly go well with what you just read. So it's really important to listen to yourself while you are studying, while you are reading about this deity, because you have to pull what feels right to you. A deity calling an individual is a very personal experience, and it's a very individual experience. No two people are going to have the same experience. You may have similarities in the experience, but you're not going to have the same experience, and you're not going to feel the connection the way somebody else does. So studying is important. Finding out as much as you can about that deity, what they like, what they like for offerings, what they stand for, their history, what part of the world they're from, what are some of the things that they reign over or have control over. Things like this are important to know. Make space for them. This is, I feel, and I know that it's hard for some people, because if you have cats, I have cats. And I literally had to build a fence around my altar because my cats were constantly up there, and they were just tearing my altar apart. So I had to build a little fence around it. So I understand in some circumstances that it's not possible to keep an altar up at all times, and I get that. But making a space for them, even if it's a shelf up on the wall, like I have that shelf behind me. That's not for a deity though. That's for my grandfather. So even if you have a shelf to act as your space where you honor them, is perfectly acceptable. It doesn't have to be a whole room. It doesn't have to be half a room. Just even a little corner of a room is fine. A little space. Make it an inviting space. Make it a place, and this is where the study and research comes in handy. Knowing what they like, that way you can put those pieces or elements or whatever together and make it an inviting space for them. The kind of space that you yourself would feel comfortable in as well. If you are not feeling connected to the things that you are putting out there, then you are not going to feel connected to that space. The both of you and the deity that you are connecting with, have to feel comfortable in that space. Make it a pleasant, happy space. Make it in a part of the room that doesn't see much chaos. Make it a part of the room that or a part of the house that maybe is quiet. It doesn't have to be super quiet, because I know people have kids and they're little kids. Forget it. There's no quiet to be had until they're sleeping. That's so. Don't view it as a chore. Want to do it. If you feel like it's a chore to make the space, don't do it that day. Don't say, "Oh, I have to do this. How am I going to fit it into my day?" Instead, schedule a day where you know you have some extra time and do it that day. However, if you wake up in the morning and you just don't feel like doing it, don't do it. Don't push yourself or force yourself to do it, because you want to create this space with a happy heart and a positive mind. You don't want to go into creating this space with a negative type mindset, like you're forcing yourself to do this, because you will in the future associate this feeling with this space. Not that you view the connection as negative, but what we put into something, we will get back. So if you are putting, if you are seeing this as a chore and you're forced to do this, then that kind of energy is going to be floating around that space, and it won't be a good energy to work with in the future. And they will know that you are forcing it. They want you to do this because you want to do it. They don't want you to do it, and force you to do it. They want you to be happy doing it. They don't want to, feel like you have to do this for them. Leave them offerings that they would like. Again, this goes back to doing your study and your research, finding out things that they would like, finding out things that they would enjoy. For some, like Bast, who is the Egyptian goddess of cats, I put, catnip, and I put cream, I put mint out for her. The goddess Mat, I put wine out for her. So finding out what each deity likes, and then using those things to create offerings for them. You can even make something handmade if you want. Your energy can be an offering. So it doesn't even have to be anything physical. Your energy can be an offering. So just doing maybe like this little, ritual for them, or anything like that. Like I personally have a ritual that I do for them once or twice a month. It's always on a Friday. This Friday is the day of love, and I want to express my love to the deities that I work with. And so I have what I call a deity honor ritual. And this is where I honor them and I show them my appreciation for them working with me, and for the blessings that they bring to my life, and also their presence in my life. And so that is my offering to them once or twice a month, my energy. I also leave offerings throughout the month, on the altar, but I leave an energetic offering too. So be mindful of your mental state when you are connecting. This goes hand in hand with creating the space. Be mindful if you are trying to connect and you're in a impaired state. I don't mean impaired as far as like drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I mean impaired as far as unable to connect. Your inability to connect due to your mental state is going to affect your ability to connect. You won't be able to connect with them in the way that you wish, and your experience may leave you with a bad taste in your mouth. Not physically, but we want our experience in connecting to be pleasant. And so if you are having a tough day, if you're having a rough time, if you're having a rough patch, let that pass. It's okay to call on deity for help, absolutely. But as far as like trying to connect with them and trying to communicate with them and trying to build a relationship, doing that in a a very upset state of mind might not be beneficial for either one of you. Talk to them often. This does not need to have a circle cast. This does not need anything except for you, your space, and your deity. So you can just have a conversation with them. Talk to them every day when you wake up. My cats are going crazy. Talk to them every day when you wake up. Say good morning. Tell them about your day, what you're going to do. Just trying to, the same thing you would do with a friend, this is what you would want to do with a deity as well. And I leave this as a suggestion, not a necessity. Write them an honor ritual. And it doesn't have to be extensive. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be this long, drawn-out process. It can be short and sweet, just to show them that, you appreciate and you have gratitude for their presence and their blessings in your life. So this was my video on connecting with deity, and I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.